Can you talk about, those specifically, what this law does, what forced arbitration is, and how this law addresses it?
It's a complicated topic, and what I have found out since my lawsuit against Roger Ailes at Fox News 5.5 years ago is that most people have no idea what it means. And that includes not only the millions of employees across the country, but also people who run companies, quite honestly. When I talk to companies every single day, many times C-suite executives have to say to me, I need to check my contract. I have no idea. And so this, for the most part, when we used to say forced arbitration, people would sort of have a glazed over look in their eyes. When I used to speak to thousands of people before COVID, I would say, raise your hand if you know whether or not you have a forced arbitration clause in your contract, and nobody would raise their hand. So this has been a huge educational journey for me. And what happened was that after my lawsuit, I started hearing from thousands of women around the country. I realized harassment was an epidemic, and then I realized forced arbitration to keep them quiet was an epidemic. So here's the problem in my mind with it. It's a secret chamber. It was never the purpose of arbitration. It was supposed to be for small business disputes, not for human rights violations. But unfortunately, over the last 4 decades, this has been used to cover up problems in the workplace. You don't get the same amount of witnesses or depositions. There's no rule of law. The arbitrator is oftentimes picked by the company, and they come back for repeat business. The arbitrator is usually not a jury of your peers, because they tend to be retired judges and lawyers who, let's be honest, are older white men who maybe are not a 25-year-old African-American woman who may be coming before them. And there are no appeals. So it is what it is, not to mention the fact that a very small percentage of the time does the employee actually win. And without the idea of being able to have it out in the open, and with all of those things stacked against you from the beginning, the problem is we continue the vicious cycle of harassment and assault in the workplace, because the perpetrator oftentimes gets to stay on the job because nobody knows about it. You can't warn other people. It's just what's promulgated this vicious cycle of the epidemic of harassment in the workplace.